Hey everyone, this is Rivenblade with a review of AEW Dark Elevation for June 21st, 2021. This was a pretty middle of the road episode, but it still had some things that are worth checking out and talking about. And if you want to keep the conversation going, just leave a comment underneath. And if you dig what I'm doing here in general, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give a thumbs up to the video, and turn on notifications so you never miss a thing. We start things off with a promo video for Rampage, and I really like the aesthetic they've got going in these videos. You got the wrestlers moving in slow motion towards the camera, electricity crackling all around them. It looks cool, it looks fresh, and I'm looking forward to the debut episode on Friday, August 13th, coming to us from Pittsburgh. So we start things off with Matt Sydal hyping up tonight's main event between himself and Jack Evans. He is going to get revenge for his brother Mike Sydal, who was attacked by TH2 in a post-match on Elevation last week. In the ring, we start things off with FTR taking on Royce Isaacs and Jarrell Nelson. Nelson and Isaacs really impressed me in this match with their double team maneuvers, not to mention their matching tights, which I always look at as a plus when it comes to a tag team. And FTR, they're FTR. They're going to give you solid meat and potatoes wrestling. They're going to give you double team maneuvers. They're just like mechanics in that ring. So they are just all around solid. You know what to expect. And things really break down for Isaacs and Nelson later on in the match when a dragon screw leg whip messes up Nelson's knee. And then FTR targets it some more by stomping on it from the top rope. Here you see Wheeler doing that. And this all ends with Dax slapping on a reverse figure four onto Nelson, who is forced to tap out. Just a solid match. I really like FTR. I've always liked FTR since they've come into AEW. And I like that this match ended on a move that was not a typical double team signature maneuver, but on a move as simple as a figure four. So you got to keep things unpredictable sometimes. And this match did that. Next, we get some hype for the Saturday Night Dynamite main event between Jungle Boy and Kenny Omega, so definitely still looking forward to that. Then we got Nyla Rose about to come into the ring, but of course, Justin Roberts is interrupted by Vicky Guerrero, who comes into the ring, and she actually makes a pretty funny joke about hoping that Justin Roberts goes far and stays there. And this popped Paul White, which in turn popped me. Anyway, this isn't so much a match as it is just another squash, a notch on Nyla's belt on her way to Britt Baker. Her victim tonight is Delmi Exo, who is the sister of Ashley Vox. This is her AEW singles debut before she was just wrestling in tag matches with her sister as the Sea Stars. Nyla Rose quickly hits a Samoan drop and then does the Beast Bomb. And Exo gets a t-shirt for her troubles. Nyla Rose stays looking strong on her way to her title match with Britt Baker. Next, another quick promo for Rampage. It looks so pretty. Next match, Baron Black and Tamilian Vanish taking on the Acclaimed. So Tamilian Vanish has actually been on Dark before. His first and only match was back in May. And Tony Schiavone and Paul White go on about how he's such a nice guy, a positive presence in the back of the locker room, and that's great for him because he gets beat up a lot in this match. So we start things off with Caster doing his rap. Baron Black wants none of it, but of course he gets a boombox in the face for his troubles, trying to stop Caster's rap, and Vanish also tries attacking before the bell. And we get Justin Roberts saying, and their opponents on the mat, Baron Black and Vanish. So the refs not really, maybe not doing their job here by allowing this match to begin, despite, two of the competitors being totally incapacitated a bit. Anyway, Baron Black spends a lot of time on the outside of this match. Eventually, he gets in and gets the hot tag. He looks really good, hits a backstabber that looks really nice. I like Baron Black. He's got a good physique. He's got a good look. But that name, Baron Black, I just think of Baron Corbin, and he's got that kind of Zelda logo on the back of his trunks. That's kind of what it reminds me of. So I hope he can get the character stuff down a bit more because I think he can get over. He's got solid work, and he's a good wrestler. He's got a good look. It's just the character stuff I think that he needs to nail down a bit more, kind of like Kylan King did at one point too. Anyway, the Acclaimed hit their double team finisher called the S4. I'm not sure if this was actually the first time we've seen this move, but yeah, it's called the S4. And then Caster hits the mic drop from the top rope for the 1, 2, 3, does some awkward hand kissing, and the Acclaimed win that match. So yeah, worth seeing just for the commentary, which was quite, unique and fresh and nice in this match. And you get to see the Acclaimed pick up another victory. Next up, Varsity Blondes joined to the ring by Julia Hart taking on Bums R Us. Yep. Bums Are Us. There they are. They are totally living the gimmick. So Bums Are Us, really kind of like a one-note tag team. They have a move called the Dumpster Dive, which they hit in this match, but it's not nearly enough as the Varsity Blondes finish them off with a double team maneuver. You got Griff Garrison holding the opponent, and then Brian Pillman Jr. does a drop kick. And then Garrison just kind of follows through and slams the opponent onto the mat for the 1-2-3. This keeps the Varsity Blondes on our radar, and it keeps Brian Pillman Jr. hot going into his match against Miro. So looking forward to that. Next up, Renee Michelle versus Chris Statlander, joined by Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. Statlander boops Bryce Rensburg to start the match, tries booping Michelle, who is having none of it at least twice. And then Statlander takes Michelle for a roll around the galaxy. Eventually, she does give her a boop, which gets a thumbs up from Orange Cassidy, gives her a big knee in the corner, and hits the Big Bang Theory for the 1-2-3. Statlander is definitely going to be the AEW Women's Champion at somewhere down the line. And again, she's got a great look. She's got good moves, a good, interesting moveset, and it's just parts of her game are still a little bit sloppy, so if she can get a little bit more finesse and kind of round off the edges of her offense, she is going to be something really special for years to come in this promotion. Next up, a quick promo from Taz and Will Hobbs. So Powerhouse Hobbs talks to the camera, just talks about how he's going to kick Hangman's butt on Saturday. So just, again, standard boilerplate promo, but at least Hobbs is talking like a real person and not like a scripted robot. So he sounded pretty good here. Looking forward to the match on Saturday. Next up, Matt Hardy versus Jora Johl. So this match is interesting, not so much for the match itself, but for the post-match. The match itself was fine. Hardy really worked over the arm, kind of did his taunting tactics, actually taunted Christian to keep him on our minds during this match as well. Eventually, he hits the Twist of Fate on Jora, and in the post-match, he wants Jora to continue living the American dream. He's offering him a spot in the HFO, but if he takes it, he's going to have to start from the bottom, sweeping floors, doing the laundry of everyone, in his faction. And this was kind of like a Virgil Ted DiBiase vibe, but like way scummier. He talks about he knows that Jora needs to keep working in AEW, otherwise he's going to get sent back to India. So maybe this is a way to have an Indian star in AEW as they kind of try to shore up a television deal in India. And Jora could be the face of that. He's formerly known as Robo, and he's the Punjabi Lion, baby. So watch out for Jora in the future of AEW. This was fine. It was okay. Next, Shawn Spears and Wardlow taking on Ryzen and Cal Hero. Cal Hero just looking like somebody straight out of an 80s or early 90s workout video, even rocking the fanny pack and everything, while the Pinnacle just look like really refined marble gods, honestly. There you see the fanny pack. Shawn Spears, not a fan, whips it into the crowd like a true heel. Everybody boos because everybody loves fanny packs, even in 2021. And he gets really fixated and obsessed with El Hero. So we have Ryzen at one point in the ring with Spears, and Ryzen is the legal man. When he's down, Spears goes back to Hero and kind of knocks him about because he's annoyed that Hero hit him earlier in the match. So he's just kind of obsessed with him. You see the 100-yard stare there. I really like this obsessive, just off the hinges a little bit character that Shawn Spears has going on. It's the best thing he's done in AEW. This all ends with Wardlow hitting his knockout knee in the corner on Ryzen. Doesn't look as good as the one he hit last week on that poor sap, but this move is awesome. And Wardlow is going to continue getting over by knocking guys over with that knee. And looking forward to seeing much more from him. And definitely looking forward to seeing more from Spears. I know there are still people out there who are doubters of this guy, but I think he has finally found something that makes him stand out, that gives him something to latch onto. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does next. Next up, Powerhouse Hobbs taking on Darian Bankston. And Darian Bankston making his AEW debut, looking like Mosh and Thrasher from the Attitude Era. Looks like he's probably still listening to Pearl Jam and Soundgarden with kind of like this half-kilt thing he's got going on. And this is just an excuse for Hobbs to punish him, which he does, and beats him in quick succession, in quick fashion, by landing his massive sidewalk slam to finish things off, keeping him hot for his match against Hangman Page. Just a neat little squash match. Next, Jade Cargill versus Robin Renegade. So this match isn't so much about the match, but about the pre-match with Jade Cargill and Smart Mark Sterling. So Smart Mark Sterling, he talks about, the marketing multiverse that they've got going on, and he announces a new partnership with the Black News Channel, which is owned by the Khans. So now we've got the Toronto Four Seasons, the Black News Channel, both of which are owned by the Khans. I kind of want to see what else the Khan owns to see which company or which entity Jade becomes the face of next. So just keep an eye out for that. Anyway, Sterling has a good charisma about him. I think he's doing a lot to get Jade over. I think Jade still looks a little bit uncomfortable at times when she's standing next to Sterling, but as long as he keeps putting over that she's a star in and outside of wrestling, it's something that no one else is doing in AEW, so it makes her stand out, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she does in AEW for many years to come. Anyway, she does kind of like a pop-up Samoan drop, a kip-up, and then ends this all with the Jaded, which Tony Schiavone mistakenly calls the Glam Slam, only to probably have Excalibur screaming in his ear saying, the Jaded, and he corrects himself on the replay. And there you see it. 1, 2, 3, Jade gets the victory, keeping her looking strong and keeping her on people's minds as a threat in the background of the women's division. Next, we go back to Jora Johl. He talks about how Matt Hardy was a hero growing up, how he looked up to him, and how he faced him tonight, and that Matt Hardy is no longer the hero that he was when, Jora was a kid. But he still needs to consider his offer. He doesn't want to take his offer, but he thinks he might have to if he wants to continue living his dream in AEW, in professional wrestling. So kind of interesting to see where this goes. And again, Jora, I think he's going to be potentially AEW's big India star. So we'll see how that goes. He's got the physique. He's a good-looking dude, and I wish him well. I hope he does well for AEW. Next up, Penta El Zero Miedo and Eddie Kingston taking on Vari Morales and Fuego del Sol. So this was not a good outing for Morales, who looked a bit sloppy at various points in this match. Of course, you had Penta nailing his thrust kicks, and at one point, you had Fuego del Sol jump to the outside, knock over Eddie Kingston. That looked fine. And then Vari, he's supposed to do a head scissors or a hurricanrana onto Penta on the outside. It's a very difficult move. And as you can see, he doesn't get his legs up on Penta's shoulders, which leads to the announce team talking about how, they didn't think he got as much of that as he wanted. It looked a little bit sloppy. Anyway, this match ends with Penta hitting the arm breaker on Fuego del Sol and actually winning the match with it. That move should end matches, so I was happy to see that. And not a fantastic match, not worth going out of your way to see, but if you just want to see some fun character work from Abrahantes, from Penta, a little bit from Kingston, it's always fun just hearing his intro because it's so great. But yeah, a fine little match. Not a great outing for Morales, though. Next up, Cesar Bononi versus Jungle Boy, and I think this is Bononi's best match since coming into AEW. So they really play up his strengths, and they play up kind of the difference between the two guys. So Jungle Boy is small and fast, and he's got some striking offense. Bononi is just a big, strong, tall lad. And Jungle Boy, he does that kind of thing where he flips off the ropes and tries to flip Bononi over him. Bononi's having none of it. He just stands there, his feet rooted to the mat, and that's really how it should be. He shouldn't be selling that move for Jungle Boy, so it makes sense that he would just stand there and power through it. He does that multiple times during the match, so Jungle Boy has to find another way to beat Bononi instead of trying to kind of like flip him over and beat him at this kind of power game that he's got going. So he's got his baby's face fire offense, Bononi's got his power moves, and the match comes to an end when Jungle Boy has the snare trap on, but you can see Ryan Nemeth comes onto the apron to distract Aubrey. Jungle Boy knocks Nemeth off the ring ropes. He does 3 strikes to Bononi, ending off with kind of like a clubbing forearm to the back of his head, and he gets the win off that. So that was a nice little surprise. Another uncharacteristic move ending a match, but it made sense in the context of what was going on there. There you see the Jurassic Express celebrating with Nemeth's statue. Finally, main event, Matt Sydal versus Jack Evans. So if you follow these guys' careers for any length of time, you know what they are capable of, and you know that this had the potential to be something really special. And I think it got about, 60% to 70% of the way there. And that's fine. This is a YouTube show. These guys, they have families to think of. And they're not like Danny Limelight and Konosuke Takeshita, who need to be going 100% all the time because they need to get the eyeballs and the attention of the AEW brass. So kind of what you'd expect in this match. So you get some submissions, you get some high-flying flips, you get some kicks to the face. Everything looks good. At one point, Angelico, tries helping Jack Evans. It kind of backfires on him. It allows Sydal to get the advantage back. Then Evans gets the advantage back. And eventually it all ends with a question mark kick and a lightning spiral from Matt Sydal, who avenges his brother who got the Navarro death roll put on him last week on the outside in the post-match by Angelico. And that is it. Not the type of match that you need to go out of your way to see. It was solid enough. I still preferred something like Scorpio Sky versus Alex Reynolds from last week, but you know what to expect with these guys. I don't think they gave us 100%, but I'm just an outsider. If hey, Matt Sydal, if you're listening to this, and if you gave it 100%, I'm sorry, I thought this match though was just decent. It was decent. Anyway, so that was AEW Dark Elevation. I would go out of your way to see the Mark Sterling promo. I would go out of your way to watch the post match of Jora Johl and Matt Hardy, as well as Jora's individual promo. And if you just want to see some solid tag team wrestling, I would also check out that FTR match to start the show. So that's it. That was AEW Dark Elevation. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to give me thumbs up, turn on notifications, and until next time, take care and take it easy.